Fun fact, an advocate is a lawyer, but a lawyer isn't an advocate. So today on Meet the HR show, we have Marianne Mwai, who is an advocate. She'll take us through her career journey and understand why an advocate is a lawyer and a lawyer isn't an advocate. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming.
All right. Now, to start us off,
Okay.
you said you are an advocate.
Yes.
What's the difference between an advocate and a lawyer?
Okay, well, there's a major difference between a lawyer and an advocate. A lawyer is someone who has undergone the undergraduate bachelor's degree in law and has completed. A lawyer can just give legal advice. However, an advocate is somebody who has undertaken the postgraduate diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law. They have passed, and they have also petitioned the Chief Justice to be admitted into the role of advocates. So the biggest difference actually is an advocate can represent a client in court. A lawyer cannot. A lawyer can only give legal advice. An advocate can represent a client in court.
All right.
Yes.
And does it come with the entry grade of you wanting to pursue to become an advocate and you wanting to become a lawyer?
Okay, once you complete your bachelor's degree, you sign up at the Kenya School of Law to undertake what we call in quotes bar school, you know. So it's a 1-year program where you sit in class for classes, and then there are certain examinations that you undergo at the end of the program. So after you pass those exams, or rather before you actually pass, you enroll for what you call pupillage. So during your pupillage, you undergo 6 months under an advocate of the High Court in his law firm where you practice. It's more like a mentorship program. So if you pass your exams, and you complete your pupillage, that is when you petition the Chief Justice to be admitted as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Yes, so it's just a matter of passing your postgraduate diploma at the Kenya School of Law that will determine, and also finishing your pupillage that will determine whether you'll become an advocate. Yes.
Many people say law seems hard. For you, what inspired you to take such a career?
Well, I've actually been saying I will practice law since I was younger. However, it took a lot of what do you call it? You had to learn a knowledge of self, you know, to be able to now understand why I wanted to pursue that career. So for me, it was a matter of interest, as well as how the subjects that I felt aligned to what I felt was best for me. So also I also liked, when I was young, I really liked, you know, advising people. You know, they call people like that mother hen in quotes, which is not a good thing. But for me, it's something that I enjoy doing until today. So I decided, you know, why not take it as a career? Yes.
And that is how it grew till now.
Yeah, until now. I really do enjoy giving people advice, you know, steering them in the right direction. They always say that what you know, somebody else doesn't know. So it's always good to share, you know, enlighten somebody. And yeah, it makes me feel good.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there certain branches in the law field?
The law is very wide. The law is very, very wide. There is criminal law, there is land law, there is matrimonial law, there is commercial law, there is tax law. It's very wide. So different lawyers pursue different directions. Some take a little bit of everything and go along with it. But then, yeah, law is very wide. They always say you can never know everything at once. So it's something that as you grow in your career, you also go learning more and more about it. Yes.
And for you, which one did you specify?
Well, during my internship, I did a lot of litigation. Litigation means court. So I used to draft a lot of pleadings in the law firm I was in. I used to attend court, not represent the client, but just attend court behind my mentor at the time and just see what is happening. You know, you see how the registry works. But I realized after some time that is not the path that I wanted to lead. Yes. So I decided, to pursue a career in commercial law. So what commercial law entails is, contracts. You sit down with companies. If the companies are called corporate clients, you advise them on a number of issues that affect the company. And there's also issues of taxation. I also work with microfinance companies. There are those that you draft for them, for example, loan agreements. You ensure that before that they give out the money to a potential client. What documentation do they need to ask for? That's what you call due diligence. So on and so forth.
And among those, which is your favorite cases to deal with?
My favorite cases to deal with. It doesn't have to be a case, actually. I don't always deal with a case. When you say case is contentious, like there's a problem, two people or more are fighting. For me, the area of the law I enjoy is advisory. Yes, that's why I say I partner with companies. For example, a company wants to engage in something. I tell them, okay, so you want to engage in this area. These are the number of laws that shall affect, or rather shall affect your business. These are the issues of compliance that your business needs to be compliant with. Yes.
And in high school, are there some certain grades that will allow one to pass through and go now to pursue law?
Yes, definitely. Before you enroll into law school, you need to have a very strong grade in English, for example. Also, what are they called? Not your theoretical subjects like history. It's not a must. However, it's good to have a good grasp of it because the law is there's a lot of content. You need to have capacity to absorb a lot of content. Doesn't mean that you cannot pursue it. However, if I know for a fact that if your English is good, then you can take up a career in law very comfortably. Yes.
And for you, starting your own farm, I believe you started this one last year.
Yes.
How has the journey been for you?
The journey has been very enlightening, also not easy at all because, it's also a business at the end of the day. You want to secure clients but you also want to make sure that you're running the business well concurrently. So being a young lawyer, the major challenge we face is the market is very tough. A lot of clients prefer engaging the lawyers whose names are well established. Those are people who've been in the market for a larger amount of time, So considering the legal career is based on trust. Your client has to trust you for them to come to you for advice or with a problem. They tell you, please help me solve this problem. So the past 1 year has been about me, trying to put myself out there. Let people know who I am. Making clients, trust you, because once the career is also about a lot of referrals. So once someone is happy with the work that you've done for them, then that's when they can say, oh, this is so and so kindly she can assist you with this. Yes, so a lot of the time has been spent networking, trying to put myself out there, letting people know who you are, the services you provide, something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard of the term pro bono.
Yes.
Could you help me understand it better?
So pro bono means procuring legal services without a charge. So pro bono is majorly for those people who cannot afford to pay a lawyer upfront for the legal services that they need to seek. So what happens is a lawyer, a law firm can provide those services by, for example, they register with the Law Society of Kenya, or also you can go to Kituo cha Sheria, where they have a list of lawyers who offer pro bono services, and a person can be assigned a certain lawyer. You can also get pro bono services from the Office of the Attorney General through legal aid. And yes, so that is what pro bono entails. Yeah.
And we hear of Law Society of Kenya.
Yes.
So are you part of it, and are there advantages of being in it?
Yes, once you're enrolled into the role of advocate, you automatically become a member of the Law Society of Kenya. So also the there are quite a number of advantages. For example, there's what they call the CPD program. It's called Career Development Program, where they issue a lot of webinars and talks to help the lawyer learn, or rather they provide programs that enlighten lawyers on maybe emerging issues in the law. Yes, they highlight a lot of areas in the law that have come up. Also, because I told you the law is very wide, so you can be practicing something, but on the other end, something completely different is emerging. So it helps you. They have a program that every year they provide different webinars or even physical trainings where you go, you get they train you, they give you a lot of information, and so on and so forth. It's also very good for networking with other lawyers. Yeah, it's a good community for sure.
And after you've already passed the bar, can you practice in another country, or whatever you studied stays here in Kenya?
Well, it depends on the countries. A lot of countries have their own regulations with regards to practicing. But I know, for example, Kenya, considering we are a Commonwealth country, you can go, for example, to the UK, and maybe there's a few papers that you'll sit, and then maybe you can now practice as a lawyer, or rather you can just undertake their bar school. Yeah, so it depends on the country. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Yeah, I know for Canada you might have to pursue another degree in law for you to be. Yes. Yeah.
Because it's quite different.
Yes. Yeah.
And my learned friend.
Yes.
Because that one is wakili wangu.
Yes.
The gowns and the wig. Is it necessary? Where did it come from?
I think it's something that we just adopted from the UK, considering we were colonized by the British.
Yeah.
So it's just it's something that just the career identifies with.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that you have to when you are appearing before the Supreme Court, it is an attire that you are required to wear. Yes. Yes.
Okay. We see that most politicians started as lawyers. Why is it so? And do you see yourself going?
No, politics for sure is not for me. I'm not sure. I think because the career is most people in the career are considered extroverts, and politics and extroversion go hand in hand. So I just think it's nothing. It's not really. It's not a must, but I think it's just personal preference. Yeah.
And are there certain personalities? For example, you say we have the introverts and the extroverts. Will personality determine someone which sort of law and which branch of law they will pursue?
Not necessarily, but I know for a fact the best litigators, those are people who argue cases in court, are extroverts.
Yeah.
Because it requires you to think on your toes. Introverts are not always people who like that space. They like planning, they like knowing who they are approaching. But extroverts will, they have, now coupled with a good grasp of law, they make the best litigators. Yes.
So right now you have the Constitution in your fingertips.
I don't know why people can make that assumption. That is quite a big document. However, the more you quote it, the more it sticks into your mind. Yeah.
So it's like your manual.
It is, yes. All the laws are subject to the provisions of the Constitution. So it's very good to have a good grasp so that whatever law you're applying, you know at the back of your mind that the Constitution has to be. Yeah.
All right. You've mentioned mentors during your pupillage.
Yes, yes.
Is there any importance in that?
It's very important because coming from law school to practice, the study of law and the practice of law are very different, especially in litigation. There are certain documents you will not understand until you practice the law. So it's important to have a mentor to be able to guide you through and also to assist you understand better, and also just enlighten you on areas that you may have a problem, and also maybe if they see that or you're not progressing in this area, they can introduce you to another. It's very important to have a mentor in the legal career.
Okay.
Yeah.
And could you tell me the process of being, you can decide now you jump from being a lawyer to a judge. Does it go with the number of years of practicing, or there's a certain amount of education you need to get?
Yes, for being a magistrate, I know you require about 3 years to be, then you can now, 3 years post admission, then now you can make an application to the judiciary. For the judge is 7 years and above.
Oh.
Yes.
So you start from magistrate?
Magistrate, and then judge, and then judge of the Court of Appeal, judge of the High Court. From magistrate is judge of the High Court, then judge of the Court of Appeal, and then Supreme Court judge. So it's just a matter of experience, and also, for example, if you're from being a magistrate to a judge, they'll take into consideration the judgments and ruling that you've drawn, the number of people that have applied it. Yeah, it's a lot of time, and then absorption of knowledge, as well as your ability to take on the job. Yeah.
And now, could you take me through, for example, you're working on a client. Take me through the process.
Okay, so like I said before, the legal career is almost 100% networking and referrals.
Yeah.
So let's say I've gotten a client from by a referral. So they'll come, and let's say it's for example, it's a matter that requires representation in court. So they'll come, you do what you taking instructions. So you take instructions from them. You can't represent a client without taking instructions. So once you take instructions, for now this is litigation, you file what you call a notice of appointment in court to notify the court that this person has chosen me to represent him in this matter in court. So once you do that, then that's now when depending on the matter, I'm not sure we can go into the nitty-gritties right now, but yeah, depending on the matter, that's when from that point going forward, that's when now, you represent him in court. If you get maybe if you win the case, you get judgment in his favor, and now you proceed with whatever happens after judgment. Yeah.
Have you gotten to a situation whereby you received a case and you refused?
Yes. Personal preference, however, I don't want to say I don't take. Yeah, but just for personal preference, criminal law for me is just an area where, especially if it involves children, that is just kids are very sensitive, and there are just certain areas where you'd rather not touch, because it's going to affect your name at the end of the day. Yes.
So for that,
and also your conscience. Yeah.
You've mentioned conscience. Is there a way you can separate your emotions and now be the advocate you are? Yes,
you can. They actually say we are guided by certain regulations as advocates. So they say as long as a client can pay you, you should represent them in court. Yes.
Okay.
And that is why, even if somebody is for example, even in criminal cases, there is a high possibility that somebody has committed a crime, but that person still has representation in court. Your duty is to represent your client the best way possible. So that is where conscience and emotion have to be separated. Yes, you have to have a very good grasp of your emotions. Yeah.
So for that, for such a scenario, you'll just go ahead with it even if you know that person committed a crime.
You see, what happens is an advocate and a client are bound by client-advocate confidentiality. So maybe you can approach your client, tell me, niambie ukweli, ulifanya ama hukufanya. So at that point he has a chance to tell you the truth, and then now you know how to take the case. You know how to handle the case best by representing your client to the best of your ability, depending on the case. And also separating your conscience as well as maintaining what you call public interest. You understand? Yeah.
And now, by the time someone is the licensed, kuna kitu mbaya amekuwa amefanya.
The licensing, so that's what we call being struck off the role of advocates.
Oh.
Yes. So for you to be struck off, you have to have probably committed certain, they call it professional misconduct. So this can be maybe you stole client money, you have committed a criminal offense and you have been found guilty. The Law Society of Kenya normally has certain, they're the ones to judge based on what you did, but mostly it's because of professional misconduct. Yes. So stealing of client money, things like that, having been found guilty of committing a criminal offense. Yeah, mostly it's more or less something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the discretion of weighing what you've done vis-a-vis what the rules say. Yes.
Okay. And at this point of your career, can you be called by, let's say, the court of law and get asked to do other pro bono cases?
They can't call on you. It has to be you to apply for those. To apply to be put in the list of firms and advocates that provide pro bono services. However, you as a person can decide, I want to help, I want to assist this and this person, and I'm not going to charge. It's up to you. Yeah, but you have to ensure that you make that application. Yes.
And now what next for you?
What next for me is I just hope to continue growing and expanding my client portfolio. And yes, I'm very happy that you came.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of these interactions really assist. Yeah.
And now you've mentioned portfolio. So for you, when you go to a client, what do you show them so that they can know, they can trust you?
You see how you say a company also sends a company profile. Yes. When the way a company sends a company profile, so what happens is, even me, I have my own profile. I say these are the clients I've dealt with. I took a person X from this point in their business. I advised them and did this and this and this, and they were able to achieve X. I handled a project that was costing this amount of money. Yeah, something like that. That's just how you grow your client portfolio, because you have to, for you to approach a company, you have to tell them what you've done, what you've handled. Yes.
Okay. And are there advantages of you working in an already established law firm and now you as you are right now?
Yes, there are advantages, because an established law firm for sure has an already existing large client portfolio. So the experience and the kind of work that you're dealing with is complex. So you have the opportunity of just dealing and also meeting people who have a better grasp of these legal issues. Yes.
All right. And so far, how many cases have you dealt with?
Since my opening, I've dealt with about 6, completed 3. It's been a year. Yes. So the growth is slow but steady.
Slow but steady.
Yeah.
And now the process of you knowing your case is still in court. How does that make you feel?
It makes you feel bad, but at the end of the day, you know that as long as you're doing your best to represent your client, and then you cannot. The judicial system also has the way that it works, and you have to follow the system. That you have to follow the court system. So at the end of the day, as long as you're doing your best and you're giving your client, you're representing your client the best way that you know possible, then I think there's nothing to feel so bad about here.
Yes. And there's room for other people to come into this career.
Yes, there's definitely room. The pie is quite big. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Before we finish, I'd like you to talk to a young lady who is learning to pursue law.
Okay.
But they are afraid.
Okay. Hello, young lady. I just want to tell you that a career in law can be the best career if you have a deep interest and passion for it. So whatever that your passion drives you to, then you should follow it for sure. And all the best in your career. We are a lot of people out here waiting to guide you